Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. Nice, we have someone here. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Do Space After School Club. My name is Kafaya and I will be facilitating today's class. So, how's everyone doing? How was your Thanksgiving break? Can you guys believe it's already December? Where did the entire year go? So, we kind of have a lot to do today, so I'm gonna stop my random chit chat and get straight to it. So, of course, this is Do Space Digital After School Coded, and my name is Kafaya. And we're going to be picking up right from where we left off last week. If you remember, we started to build a game off of all the programming concepts that we learned over the past month or so. And we started by completing the next challenge, which was creating the clicker game. And for that, we went through 8 out of the 9 challenges that's required to create the clicker game. So because we ran out of time, we couldn't complete the last step, which is how we upgrade our T in the clicker game that we created. So that's where we're going to start today's lesson. Okay, and when we're done with that, we're going to dive right in and we get to move on to our next challenge, which is a bit exciting because we get to make music. Isn't it awesome? You get to make music with code. Life is sweet. Okay, so yeah, that's what I have planned for us today. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. And I'm going to dive right in. Okay, so before we go there, we're going to start right here by completing the last step. Can you guys see? I tried not to do it without you, so it could be a first time experience completing this challenge for all of us. So I'm going to just click and continue. And as you can see, this builds off of everything that we had done so far. I'm glad because it would be a bit overwhelming to start from scratch because it was a long game, a long activity. So, of course, as we always do, I'm going to be following the prompts on the screen and just follow the steps until we achieve our goal and complete our challenge. And yeah, I would like to encourage you guys to go back at your own time and go onto the CanoCode website. And it would help to start from the beginning, just so you understand the concepts once you have to apply them into the challenges. Okay, so finally, we are going to code the auto clicker to sell the tea automatically. So I'm going to go next. First, create an event for clicking the button. And to do that, I'm going to open my button to tray and click, drag, and place it right here. Next, just like with the upgrade, you need to use logic to check if the player can afford the auto clicker. And of course, when we say logic in CanoCode, we're talking about our if statements. So I'm going to go right here and drag the block right here. And next I'm going to change my equal to sign to greater than. Oh, found it. Okay, next I'm going to open my variables tray and select my item block. And I'm going to change that item to money because we're dealing in currencies. And back to my variables tray, another item block that I'm going to change to clicker cost. Cool. Now to add the loop, which will click automatically, we open our control tray to get our very, very good friend, the loop. And now we're going to go into our math tray and select the block right here. And we're going to change this from item to money, of course. Back to our variables tray, we're going to select another item block. And can anyone guess what we're changing this to before I do it? We're changing this to cost. Awesome. So, of course, we want to make the speaker play sound when the auto clicker clicks. So next, I'm going to open my speaker tray to get some sound, and I'm going to change the sound from that to, what am I changing my sound to? To TWIP. Okay, right here. Awesome. So now, to subtract the cost of the auto clicker from the player's money, we're going to open our math tray and connect the block. Change this, of course, from item to money because the variable we're dealing with today is money. If we used item, our code wouldn't work. So next, we're going to change this to a negative equal to sign. And back to my variables tray, I'm going to switch this to item and change that, of course, from item to clicker cost. So this helps us check if they have enough money to make the purchase. Finally, we're going to make the auto clicker more expensive every time the player buys one. The same thing we did for the T upgrade, we're going to apply the same concept to our auto clicker. So now I'm going to go to my math tray and select this block that we have used several times today and change item to clicker cost. And now I'm going to multiply and change this from 1 to 2. And now our game is complete. Okay, let's see. Click on the T to set it and buy upgrades and try to earn enough to test out the auto clicker. So this would be quite a challenge. Let's see. So remember, every time that we click, it indicates that we have sold T and we get more money in our bank. And because our T costs 50 cents, our money is going to go up by 50 cents every time that we click. So our first T upgrade is going to be $20. So we have to sell as many teas, as many bubble teas as we can to get more than $20 so we can upgrade. So I'm gonna click, 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 up to 21. Okay, awesome. So now we're able to afford our T upgrade, or should we keep going till we can purchase our auto clicker? Let me see. 500 is quite a while. So I hope you guys have fun watching me click away. Okay, let's see. Nice. To get our next upgrade, we need to, and every time that we sell our tea and every time we get an upgrade, the price of our bubble tea increases. So that way, every time that we click, our money goes up by more than 50 cents this time. So let's see. Okay. I'm just going to keep purchasing until we're able to afford the auto clicker. And as you can see, our auto clicker costs 500 and I have 511. So now it automatically clicks for me because I can afford it. So no more hard labor for us. We get to use our money to purchase convenience. So yeah, there you go. That's how the game works. And now it's going to keep increasing until we get to the next upgrade, and then it just has fun by itself. Okay, because we have other things to do, we're going to move on to our challenge for today. Please make sure to come back at a time that's convenient for you. If you're looking for a fun activity to do during the holiday, you can explore the world of Kano. and the amazing challenges that they have. So I'm talking too much. Let's move on to our next challenge, which is making music. Cool. So we're going to watch our introductory video real quick, just so we have an understanding of what this challenge entails before we go on to completing our challenges and following the steps. Okay, give me a second. I'm just going to turn on my sound and your
Making
sound.
music using code. So let's just get started in Kano Code. There's a few different tools to make sound in Kano Code. These all live in the parts tray on the right. I'm just going to run you through the different ones available and show you how they work, and then we're going to put together a song. So let's get started with the speaker part. The speaker part is what you'll use if you want to play sound effects, like animal noises or drums or sort of loops. Let's have a look what it can do. So first I'm going to put down a loop, and let's do every 1 second. Then let's open up the speaker tray. So we get the first block is just a simple play sound. So as you can see, it's playing the sample every second because we've got it in a loop. Now you can click the sample and choose different ones to play, and if you click on them, you can kind of test them out and see if you like them. So we can have a bass drum, or we can have a cymbal, or if you keep scrolling down, we've got things like guitar notes. So I'm going to choose a sort of a ping sound, I think. So I've chosen a ping sound, and now I'm going to show you some of the other cool stuff you can do with a speaker. So the speaker also has is this pitch setting. Pitch is like the tone of the sound. So we can turn it down and we can make the sound that we're playing lower, or we can turn it up and we can make it higher. Because we're doing this with code, we can also put like a random number in and then have the computer play a different pitch every time it plays a sound. And if we just, let's speed that up a bit, I'm just going to put in 0.5 seconds and maybe change this to 50 so you can always hear it. And maybe this up to 200. Well, there we go. We've got the computer playing a very simple song. It's just not a very good one, is it, really? You can also use this random sound effect block. And if we plug that in, now we have random sounds playing at random pitches. Another cool thing you can do with a speaker is play a loop. So if we just open up the speaker tray again, drag in the speaker loop block. Now, as you can see, it's playing this sample over and over. If you click on the sample pickup, and then there's this special loop section in the samples. So all the ones in here are designed to be looped. So let's just choose this mountain one, and you can hear it's like actually more of a song. It's not an instrument. It's actually like a background sound. So you can, if you want to have some music in your creations, you can use this as an easy way to add some music. Right. I'm just going to throw that in the bin as well. And then let's move on to the next part. So the next part we're going to look at is the synth part. So let's just open up the add parts window again, and we will select synth, which is in the middle here. It's called the synth part, which is short for synthesizer, which is a type of instrument that makes sound just using the power of maths. So we're going to need something to control this. So I'm going to add in a slider as well. So we'll just open the add parts window again and select slider. Now, we're also going to need a loop so we can change the instrument while it's playing. So I'm just going to open the control tray and grab in a loop and set that to from seconds to milliseconds. So let's turn the synth on. So if we open the synth tray and drag out synth start, and I'm just going to put that under my loop, you'll hear it's playing, it's making noise, but it doesn't sound very good. It's just like playing the same note over and over. So let's code it so it'll change the actual notes it's playing. So if we open up the synth tray and get synth pitch and put that in the loop, and then we'll get the value of our slider. So open the slider tray, grab the slider value and attach that into the synth pitch. So then if we go over to the canvas and drag our slider, you can see that it changes the pitch of the synthesizer and kind of makes weird sounding noises. You can also change the type of wave the synthesizer uses, which will make it sound different. So if we just open up the synth tray again and drag in the synth wave block, the normal one is a sine wave. There's also a square wave that sounds like an annoying buzzer, I guess. There's also a sawtooth. And finally, triangle. So I'm just going to drag these to the trash to get rid of that code. The next part we're going to look at is the text-to-speech part. It's a really fun part. It gives your computer the ability to speak and say anything you want it to. So let's open the Add Parts window again and then select text-to-speech here on the right. Let's open the text-to-speech tray, and there's only one block in there. This is a text-to-speech say block, which will make the computer say anything it says at the top here. So if we change this to
how are you?
And there you go, it asks, how are you? We can also change the speed of how it speaks. So let's change this up to maybe
how are you?
150. It's very fast. I'm just going to press the restart button.
How are you? How are you?
Very, very fast. We can also make it speak
How
slowly.
are you?
Makes the computer sound it's a bit tired maybe. Finally, we can also change the accent it uses. So we've got it on British English at the minute. Let's change it to US.
How are you?
Or French.
Where are you?
German.
Who are you?
And finally, Italian.
How are you?
So there's a lot of fun you can have with this part. You can have it so your computer can tell a joke, or maybe a poem, or maybe read the weather out to you. Now you've seen the different sound parts. Let's put them together and use them to make a song. Now for that, we'll need one more part, and that's the sequencer part. So I'm going to add the sequencer. So if we open the Add Parts window again, and here it is on the bottom left. So, and then I'm going to open the sequencer tray and drag in a sequencer. The sequencer is a powerful part. It's like a conductor for your song, so I'm going to use it to control all the different parts and tell them what to do when. So on its own, the sequencer doesn't actually do anything. We need to put things inside it for it to activate. So I'm going to open the speaker tray and drag out a play block and put that inside it. And I'm going to choose a mid-tom sound effect. So now we've got a sound effect inside it. Let's turn some of these squares on and you'll see how it works. So every time playhead hits the selected squares, it'll run all the code inside it. So if we fill in more of them, you get more of a beat. Now, we can use multiple of these to build up a song. So let's drag out another one. And then I'm going to drag out another speaker play. So if we go into here and we click on hand clap, then we can turn on the squares in this sequencer, and you'll see they're both working together to sort of make something that starts to sound like a song. So let's drag out another sequencer and add another speaker play block. So because we're making music with code, we can make it so the music changes as it's played. So I'm going to go in the speaker tray again, and we're just going to grab this block at the bottom, which is the random sample block, and plug that into the third sequencer. Now if we put some notes in here, so you can see that every time it plays on that sequencer, it actually plays a different sample, and now it's kind of sort of starting to sound a bit like a song. It's a bit of a strange song, but I think it is kind of sounding like a song. No song would be complete without lyrics. So I'm going to turn my sequences off for now, and then we're going to add some lyrics. So if we open up the variables tray and grab the set item block, and let's click on item and say create variable. Now I'm going to call this variable lyrics and confirm. So if we just had one lyric, it would be a pretty boring song. So I'm going to use a list to add a few different lyrics. So if we just open the list tray and drag out create list. So let's open the variables tray again, and then we're going to use this text block here. So let's drag out 3 of those. And I'm going to write our lyric, which will be music made with code. So I'm going to add a final sequencer to sing our lyrics. So I'm going to open the sequencer tray again and drag in a sequencer. We're going to use the text-to-speech part we added earlier to say our lyrics. So if we open the text-to-speech tray and drag out the say block, I'm just going to turn on one of the squares. You'll see it'll say the lyric every time the playhead hits that box.
Hello.
So I'm just going to turn that off for a second. Now, all our lyrics are stored in a list, and we need to get them out of the list if we want the text-to-speech to sing the lyric. So I'm just going to open up the list tray again, and there's this in-list get block, which will pull the lyrics out of the list for us to use. So I'm just going to drag that in and connect it to the speech say block. Now, we need to tell it which list we're going to use. So let's open up the variables tray, and then we'll get the variable block, which is at the bottom here, and then we put that inside the list get block and select our list, which is lyrics. And we don't want to get we want to get like different lyrics every time. So let's click on the number, and then there's this option at the bottom here, random. So this will get a random lyric from our list of lyrics, and it will get the text speech to say it. So okay, let's turn that on.
Made with music code.
So as you can see, every time it runs, it gets a different lyric. So it's going to sing a different lyric every time.
Music.
Now, if we turn on all our sequences, you'll start to see we've kind of made a song here.
Made with code. Music. Made with.
So there we go. We've got the song, we've got the music, and we've got the lyrics and the beat going on. So the last thing it maybe needs is some visuals. So I'll just turn the sequences off for a second. The cool thing about the sequencer part is it'll run any code you put inside it. So let's use it to make kind of some visuals to go along with our song. So I'm going to open the draw tray and drag out a set background color block, and I'm going to put it in this first sequencer. I'm just going to shift that one out of the way, and this one too. And then if we go into the color tray and drag out a random color, so you'll see when we turn this sequencer back on, it won't just play a sound, it'll also change the background color. Now I think it'd be cool if we add the actual lyrics on the screen as well. So I'm just going to add a text part. So we have a text, it's a bit small, so if we go into the text tray and then we set the scale, I'm just going to put that up here at the beginning of my code and change that to 300. Yeah, that's about right. Now I want my text to say the lyric that's currently being sung by the computer. So I think we're going to need another variable. So if I just open the variables tray again and grab out set item, I'm going to put it in here above my text to speech say block, and I'm going to go and create a new variable, and I'm going to call this next lyric. We need to set this as a lyric from our list. I'm going to take our in-list get block and I'm going to plug that into our new variable. And then to change the text, I'm just going to open the text tray, get this text value block, and plug that in under our text to speech say. Now I want the say block and the text value block to say the same thing. So I'm going to get another variable item, and I'm going to plug that into both of them, and then set that to next lyric. Now if we just turn this sequencer on,
Music. Made
you'll
with
see because we're using the same variable,
music.
it says the word and also shows the word. Now let's turn all the other sequences on and get the full effect.
Music. Made with. Made with. Music. Code.
So there you have it. That's music made with code.
That was very exciting and fascinating at the same time. So I'm very excited to dive right in and get on to us making our own music with code, just like he did in that video. So cool. I'm going to go back here and get on to the first challenge. And this challenge is called microphone emoji. You can use the microphone part to code art that moves with your voice. Okay, to animate your artwork, first you need a loop. So I'm going to go inside my control tray and grab my very good friend, the loop. And I'm changing seconds to milliseconds, and back to my draw tray, I'm going to connect the drawing block. Again, inside of my draw tray, I'm going to set my background color to yellow. Okay. Next, inside of my draw tray, I'm going to choose a fill color, because of course we're drawing our emoji first, right? So I'm going to change this from black to yellow. Back to my draw tray, because the face looks like a circle, we're going to draw a circle with the radius of 200. Now we have our face, or what you want to call it, a circle. Now I'm going to bring the face to life, right? So my X is going to change to 0, and my Y is going to be negative 100. So we're going to use the I stamp. We've done something like this in the past when we created art and made our emojis. So now our face has eyes. Next, I'm going to change this from 100 to 200 so the size of our eyes are more proportional to the face. And next, we're going to do the same thing for our tongue, I believe. Okay, so I'm changing 5 to 0 and Y is going to be 200, of course. Back to my draw tray, I'm going to choose a fill color and, oh, okay. I'm going to go back to my draw tray and select another circle for our mouth. And yeah, okay. So you'll need to use the microphone part to get the current noise level. Add the microphone part using the add parts button. This is me adding microphone part. Okay. Next, I'm going to go to microphone volume. Okay, so let's see how this challenge works. Try talking to your computer's microphone and see the mouth of the emoji move as we speak, which you guys can already see. Every time I say something into my microphone, the mouth gets bigger, just like my mouth. Very cool, very exciting. Next, we're going to go on to the next challenge. Oops, I apologize, which is theremin. Okay. To start with, a theremin is an old electronic synthesizer instrument that makes weird alien noises. Now try coding your own. Awesome. First, we're going to create a loop. To do that, I'm going to open the control tray and grab our good friend, the loop. And next, we're going to change this from seconds to milliseconds. Back to my draw tray, I'm going to clear the drawing. Next in my draw tray, I'm going to set a background color, and it says to change to a light color. So I like this kind of green that's in the middle. So I'm going to choose that color. And yeah, that's it. Back to my draw tray, we're going to move and set our positions. So I'm going to put my X position to be 0, just following the instructions as it says. And the next thing to do is to add an instrument that's going to be controlled using your finger or a mouse. So I'm going to add the touch part button. And inside of my touch tray, that is going to be my Y value. Next, it says use a variable to store the strength of the notes to play. Open the variables tray. So this is me in the variables tray, just following the instructions and changing this to strength. Inside of my math tray, I'm going to change this. It looks like positive to positive. So I'm a bit confused. Maybe it's the divide sign. Cool. Next, we're going to touch Y, and then we're changing 0 to 10. Awesome. So now I'm going back into my draw tray, and I'm going to move my Y. My X position is going to be 500. And the instruction says use a random block to create a vibration effect on the note. Open the math tray. So I'm opening my math tray, of course, and I'm going to make my Y position a random number between 0 to 10. Now my variables tray, I'm going to select the item block and change this to strength, just like we did in the start. So back to my draw tray, I'm going to draw a stroke color with the thickness of, okay, so now it says to change my color. What color do I want? Let me go orange. Yeah. So inside my variables tray, I'm going to select my variable block again. Oopsie. Why won't you come? Now I'm changing this from item to strength again. Back to my draw tray. And now 5 becomes 800. And for down, we're going to change 5 to 0. So drag your mouse or finger across the canvas and see how the note is drawn and shakes the Y position now to make sound. Let's see. Ooh, okay. When I start from the top right here, it's a very thin line, and then the farther down I go, the bigger my line gets. That's actually quite exciting. For a while I was a bit confused as to what we were doing, but this looks cool. Let's get on to the sound. Okay, so add the synth part using the add parts button, just like we saw him do in the video. I'm going to open the tray and add the block. Next, I'm going inside of my variable tray to select my variable block, and I'm going to change this to strength. Finally, to make some noise, turn the synth part on. So this, I'm going to select, start. Awesome. So it is time for us to test out our, very cool. Awesome, that's kind of exciting. But because we're running out of time, we're going to move right on to our next challenge. So this challenge is called Soundwave, and let's dive right into it. Okay. Next, you can use the microphone part to see what sound waves look like. So I'm going to open my draw tray and set my background color to black. Okay. Now I'm going to open the draw tray again and give it a position to start from. So I'm going to change my X position to 0 and my Y position 300. Back to my draw tray, I'm going to draw with the fill color of a random color. Make the sound waves see-through by changing the transparency. So I'm going to open my draw tray and set my transparency to 40. Next, I'm going into my control tray. I'm going to select a loop, and every 1 millisecond I want to draw an ellipse with the width of 1. And back to my math tray, I'm going to select this lovely block right here and change this to a multiply sign. Next, get the volume value from your microphone, add a microphone part. Okay, so I'm going to open the microphone tray and pump up my microphone volume, and I'm changing 0 to 3. I'm opening my draw tray and I'm going to draw, changing 5 to 1 and changing 1 to 0. Talk to your microphone and see how the wave is drawn across the canvas. Make it start over every few seconds. Okay, let me make that full screen and I'm going to start over. Hello. So it is making a sound. Cool. Let's try that one more time. Hello. So when I don't say anything, it goes like a straight line, and of course when I speak up, the sound wave goes higher. Hello. Bye. That's kind of exciting. Okay. So next, you can use a second loop to reset the wave. So I'm going to go inside of my control tray, and every 4 seconds, I want to move from back to my start position basically, and I'm going to change Y to 300 and choose a fill color of a random color. So that way we get to see the variety every time. So every time that I say something, it changes the color of the sound wave. So every 4 seconds, the loop goes over and over again. This is exciting, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to what I think would be our last challenge of the day, which is a soundboard. Okay, this should be exciting. Use events and parts to build a soundboard to trigger fun sounds using buttons. So let's get started. So I'm going to go inside of my draw tray and set my background color to yellow, I think. Or should we try this one? Yes, that works. You need to add a button to activate the sound. So to do that, I'm going to use the Add Parts button to add a button. And next, I'm going to go inside of my button tray to move my button. And I'm going to change the X position to 200. And the Y position for my button is going to be 300. Next, I'm going to set the scale, like the size of my button, from 100 to 150. So back inside of my button tray, I'm going to give my button a label, and I'm going to change that to air horn. Awesome. Next, we're going to go back and choose a button background color, and it says to make it purple. That works. Awesome. Now make the button run code when it's pressed. Open the button tray. On click, I want the button to speaker. I want the button to play a sound of the air horn. Awesome. Now try clicking the button on the canvas and hearing the sound play. Let me make sure you guys can also hear me when I do that. So let's go ahead and hear this. Nice. Let's see what we have to do next. Next, we're going to add a second soundboard button. And so I'm going to open my button to tray and move my button to the X position of 600, and my Y position is going to be 300. Awesome. So inside of my button to tray, I'm going to set the size of my button. Let me move this down a little bit. The size of my button, of course, is going to be 150, just like the first button. Next, I'm going to choose a label, and we're going to change this one to bell. Next, we're going to choose a background color for our button. And yes, so back to the button to tray. When I click on my button, I want the speaker to play the sound of a bell. Awesome. So right here, let's test it out. Give me a second. We can't hear it because our sound is off. Okay. Awesome. So that is going to be our stopping point for today. We gladly were able to complete all of the challenges under the making music part, and I would like to encourage you guys to go back to your Cano Code website if you have an account and try to make sure to explore making music with code at your own time, of course. That's the best way to learn, to do a lot of experiments. Okay? So that's all that I have for you today. If you have any questions or comments or anything you would like me to see, please send me an email at hello@dospace.org. My name is Kafaya, and it's been fun chatting with you guys today, and I hope to see you next week, okay? Have a wonderful day. Bye.